began the show with the latest on the Hunter Biden saga and how sections of the media are finally reporting aspects of the story that they ignored or undermined during the election campaign. Joining me now is social commentator Lauren Southern. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren, but the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop, including information on dodgy business dealings and the big guy, being Joe Biden, were known before the election. But Twitter and Facebook banned or suppressed the story, and the media all pretended it was some sort of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Yes, Rita. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The ominous voice of Jack Dorsey in my ear set is telling me we can't talk about this. We're going to have to cut and move to the next story. Luckily, I'm joking, and this is one of the few programs that we can actually discuss Hunter Biden's laptop and what was on it and the many things that had serious implications for America. Of course, you had Hunter Biden discussing issues and working for Ukrainian energy firms and telling them that he could get his father involved, and Biden then pressuring Ukrainian officials to fire prosecutors looking into these firms. That seems like a pretty serious thing to investigate and talk about. But of course, the New York Post story on this, on the laptop, on all of the issues going on, completely not allowed on Twitter. You had, beyond this, just talking about indiscretions with the Biden family. Glenn Greenwald in The Intercept, he had to resign because he wasn't allowed to publish stories that were too critical of Biden. This is scary stuff. If this is going to be our next sitting president, and social media companies, outlets, Google, where we get our information and access our information, aren't allowing us to criticize him, I mean, this is communist Russia, communist China type stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And this wasn't just conjecture. The laptop, the information was there. There was exchanges. Hunter Biden's former business partner came forward to talk again about communication and meetings he had. And then we had Joe Biden on video talking about how he used hundreds of millions of dollars, I think it was. I can't remember the figure of US taxpayers' money, which was going to be a loan, using that to pressure the Ukrainians to get rid of an investigator who was looking into Burisma, which was paying his son $1 million a year, despite the fact that the guy has no qualifications or industry experience. Like, the whole thing is there, and yet the media were utterly disinterested. They're reporting on it now. They're saying, oh, there's an investigation. Well, yeah, we knew that already. Now, let's move on to the pandemic and how devastating it has been for small businesses, not just here in Australia, but in the US, and workers in the private sector. But Lauren, it's been quite beneficial for a number of big companies who are making massive profits, bigger than ever.
Absolutely. And it hasn't been helping the little guy. You have all of these people who are pretending this is, about saving grandma and grandpa. This is about the little guy. You want to help your community. Meanwhile, you have big businesses profiting, politicians and the wealthy getting to violate all the COVID rules they want, because it's don't travel unless you have a private jet, don't have a party unless you're wealthy and you can kind of cover it up and have it at your private club. No worries. Honestly, Rita, I am getting so sick of all of this moralizing around COVID, all of these people pretending they're better than those questioning the lockdown, saying I'm losing my business, I haven't been able to see my grandmother. I have family who have Alzheimer's that aren't going to remember us by the time that their home opens up. And these people I have literally watched a woman put on a mask for the sole purpose of taking a selfie. I've driven by a winery in between Canberra and Sydney that had signs saying, stay home, save lives along the road. And every single lot in their car park was full. And they had a dozen people walking into the winery, because none of it is about saving lives or doing the right thing. It's about looking good for a lot of these people. They just want to be able to post that they are good people on Instagram. It's all narcissism thinly veiled as political activism. If you want to save lives, let's talk about the millions of people in Africa, in the third world, that are going to starve to death because of the consequences, the economic consequences of lockdown. What about them? Open the economy, save lives, how about?
Absolutely, and also from a range of preventable diseases, because the vaccination programs aren't continuing like they used to, because everything has been interrupted because of COVID. Now, to illustrate the double standards, the preferential treatment that some big businesses are receiving, let's have a look at the plight of this bar owner in Los Angeles.
This being set up for a movie company. I'm losing everything. Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here. And people wonder why I'm protesting and why I have had enough. They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face, that's safe. This is safe. 50 feet away. This is dangerous. Mayor Garcetti and Gavin Newsom is responsible for every single person that doesn't have unemployment, that does not have a job, and all the businesses that are going under.
Now, we've got that bar owner joining us on Outsiders on Sunday morning. Don't miss that. Just absolutely outrageous. Her business has been shut down, and she showed you that outdoor dining area she has set up. And right next to it, a big movie studio has got approval, Lauren, to set up and actually operate legally, while she has to do a protest and be labelled all sorts of ugly names. And we haven't seen the social justice warriors stand up for these little people. In fact, they have mocked anyone who has challenged lockdowns. Let's have a look at this painfully unfunny skit from the latest edition of Saturday Night Live.
And the owner said no one wants to do that because they'll go out of business. But the argument that people in Staten Island don't want to drink outside can be disproven by going to literally any Little League game. One guy at the protest even gave a speech where he literally compared not being able to drink indoors to being Jewish during the Holocaust, which must have been awkward for the people there who had to suddenly pretend they believed in the Holocaust.
So I take it that you found these protests frustrating.
Yeah, man, they're making us look like babies.
So this is what passes for comedy. Not only mocking small business owners that can't feed their families, but they're actually suggesting they're anti-Semites and Holocaust deniers as well. Lauren, this is just so sickening. Saturday Night Live is actually using a loophole right now in the lockdown provisions to have a live audience and to keep recording and keep working. But small business owner who wants to open up, they are babies, and then they're ripe for mockery.
These people on SNL, these people, the influencers moralizing, saying we've got our COVID safe parties, the politicians moralizing about this all, they are so detached from reality. It's a classist issue. These people can afford the lawyers to ensure their business stays open. They can afford the lobbyists, the airlines, all these places. They're the ones that are going to get bailed out at the end of the day. They have the friends in government. They can afford an $1,000 fee if they get in trouble for violating rules. So they don't care. All this is doing is shutting down their competition, the small businesses, the mom and pop shops. And then you see these people on SNL mocking them. These people making millions of dollars. They're fine. They're not going to lose their house. They're in bed with the politicians who also are going to be fine. They're not going to lose their jobs. You see, the moment this affects them, which it won't, but the moment they know someone who loses their job, they know someone who kills themselves from the difficulties of a recession, losing everything they love. If they actually knew someone who was going through this, they wouldn't be mocking these people. But this is a classist issue. This is showing me what privileged losers these people are on SNL. It's disgusting to see.
Absolutely.
And it's so gross that they pretend to be these grassroots about the little guy social justice warriors. You know nothing. You are privileged. You're on $1 million salaries, mocking people just trying to get by and feed their kids.
Absolutely. I mean, what they call punching down. If that's not punching down, then I don't know what is.